4:33 p.m.
This is
Started
the
recording.
Darien Sewer Commission. It is a regular meeting on Tuesday, February 1st, 2022, at 4:33 p.m. via remote video conference using the town's GoToMeeting platform as indicated on the agenda and posted with the town clerk. A second item on the agenda is to approve our minutes from January 4th.
I just had one thing I thought sent to tweaks on page 2 of 3, number 4 on Hampton Road.
Okay, Reese, if I could interrupt you for a minute, you're on the phone, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I have your edits up on the screen.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Everybody see that?
Yes.
Almost.
I'm sure it's fine.
You have a very messy desktop, Darren. It's,
I know.
it's irritating my OCD.
I keep nothing on my desktop. That's how I know when something's been put on there, my computer.
Yeah, it is a mess.
My physical
All right.
desk.
Any other comments on the minutes?
Yes, I had one question on the last page up at the top for 6 Superintendents Report. In that last sentence, are those prepositions, should they be reversed? That on the Corbin catch basin, the staff found through dye testing that there is infiltration to sewer through the catch basin?
You're on page 3 of 3.
Oh, yes.
And Superintendent's
6A.
Report, A, B, C, C, A,
Hold
B,
on.
A,
6A.
Hold on.
6A, okay.
No, it's above A. It's
No,
in-
she's
so-
talking about the end of
the
5.
end of 5. Yeah.
Okay.
Very
Oh,
end
there
of
we go.
5, which
Staff
up at the
found through dye testing that there is infiltration to the sewer through the catch basin. So
Okay, that was my question.
Flip flop to and
Yeah.
through.
Infiltration, okay, through and to. Got it. Thank you.
That's correct, right? We're getting stormwater from the catch basin into the sewer, not sewage from the sewer into the catch basin.
Yeah, as far as we know.
Maybe
I
change.
believe the
Maybe
sewer's
change.
under it.
Maybe change through to from.
Yeah,
From the
to
catch.
and from. Yeah, that's good too.
There you go.
Good catch, Susan.
Any other comments on the minutes?
I know what I'm doing.
Would someone like to move as modified?
So moved.
Including
I'll
Reese's
second.
comments, right?
All right, Reese moves to modify the minutes, or approve the minutes as modified. Bob seconds. Any further discussion?
That includes Reese's comments as well,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
Okay.
correct. All those in favor say aye.
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 That sounded like everybody. All right, item number 3 on the agenda. We have a holdover from a couple of meetings. Do we have any new information here?
No.
No, if you read the emails, he actually withdrew.
Ah, okay. Thank you for reading the emails.
And Penny,
So if he
Penny-
withdrew, there's
Penny
no
asked to
action we need to take.
sorry to interrupt. Penny's asked him to pay
Okay,
because you folks have been releasing him from paying interest all the time it was tabled.
okay. And so it's no longer tabled, it is discharged. Item number 4 on the agenda. 370 Hoyt Street.
This, the owner of this property came to us and we're looking to connect a pool house. And they started talking about logistics, where they would connect out into the road or whether they would connect to their own lateral. We did some digging and found out that in fact they weren't even being built for sewer, so we had no record of them being connected. Not sure how. The houses are relatively new. This was part of a 4-lot subdivision. I think this was the original house that was
Uh,
connected.
According to Willow, it said it was built in 2002.
It was, but before this house was built and the 3 houses next to it, this is right on the corner of Woodway. There was a 4-lot subdivision, and we believe what happened, we don't know, we're not positive, but we believe what happened is there was 1 house there, and then the land was subdivided. That house was connected to the sewer, and when they rebuilt the house, somehow it got disconnected and wasn't billed or something. Anyway, the end result is we would like to add them to our billing list.
And bill them retroactively for the past 3 years.
Which is what we normally do, and
Yes.
if that's okay with you guys, because Penny was ready to go ahead and do it, and I said, well, we should get this.
This follows our regular administrative protocols, which reminds me, maybe we should add it to the administrative document we're putting together for guidance on how we look at sewer user fee appeals. This might be something to add to that document.
I had one thing about the bill and then another thing just in general.
Okay.
The first one would be the bill. It would be billed the last 3 years in the rears, assuming that it was the same owner, correct? As the same as the present owner. Am I saying that correctly or not?
I think so.
No, I'm actually saying this to the board because you're talking about as kind of a SOG or SOP. That would be what we would be looking for, correct?
It's an interesting question.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever pondered the question before.
It just popped into my head.
Let me look here.
I mean, I think it would be hard to be billing a new owner for past billings. Oh no, you don't have to look. I've looked to see that it's the same. It's the same
Okay.
owner since
That's what I was
2012.
looking at.
That's
So
not.
it's been the same owner
I'm
since at
talking
least
about moving
2015.
forward. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
In this particular case, the owner of the property.
I'm not ready to opine on that.
Okay.
I'm not ready to cross that bridge until we come to it.
Fair enough.
At this point, 3 years is 3 years, regardless of the owner.
And I would make a motion that. Do we need a motion, Darren, or do you just want guidance?
Please, yeah, we put it in front of you for that.
Okay, I would make a motion that we bill the owner for the past 3 years in the rear.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor, Susan,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Reese?
Yes.
I'm a yes as well.
I'd just like to add, the woman was totally agreeable with everything that you guys are doing right now. We explained the situation to her, and she said, oh yeah, if I haven't been billed, I'll pay. So
It's good. Everybody gets a deal because she still had a few years where she didn't have to pay.
The other thing is, if it was a 4-house development, did you check the other 3 houses to see what their status is?
indeed, they were billed right from the very beginning.
Okay.
Thank you.
No,
Good
thank
question.
you.
Mhm.
Not every day we find revenue. All right, we're going to jump right on to the superintendent's report here at 4:42 p.m. Ed, don't disappoint me.
I won't, because I'm going to hand this one right over to Darren, and I'm sure he'll give us the quick versions of the first 2 items.
Hint, hint. I'll try to do it like an auctioneer. This is actually a good story. The commission may remember there was a developer sewer which wasn't contemplated to be originally connected. The commission said, sure, go ahead. If they can make an agreement and amend the developer's agreement, go ahead. But get town council involved. We wrote a letter, which is included in the package, page 5A, 1 of 1, which council accepted without any corrections. We
There you
forwarded
go.
it to both
That's pretty
parties,
good.
and both parties signed on to it immediately. The next day, I had a check from Mrs. Callaghy. We forwarded the check immediately to Peter Corbett. And we're working through the logistics right now of how to connect to a live low pressure sewer. We have some ideas. We're probably going to end up using a dresser coupling. The plumber seems to have found one that works with the SDR21 pressure decibel of 200 PSI. And
I watched someone connect to a 24-inch water main, ductile iron water main, to an existing live 24-inch cast iron water main. So if that guy could do that, hopefully you can tap into that 2-inch.
Yeah, I hope so too. There are other alternatives like tapping sleeve and valves, cutting in valves, but
Those
I
introduced
think we're
headlocks.
very lucky in this
Wasn't-
case, because right now there's 2 people connected to the sewer, and there's a manhole very near to this, so we can catch it at the right time of the day, turn the valve off, and these people's pumps will shut
Yeah, you
off,
can
or they'll get an
just
alarm
start
for a
to see
second. We'll
almost.
knock
Yeah.
on their doors. Only a couple people. Good on that?
Yep.
Okay,
I
88
want
Nearwater.
to thank Darren for drafting the letter.
Perfect.
And I also want to thank Reese. Really, this was your creative out-of-the-box thinking towards the end of the discussion last time that led to what turned out to be the desired solution, good for both parties.
Yeah, it's a nice outcome. Beautiful.
Really was. They got along
5B.
wonderfully. Okay, 88 Nearwater. This is the small extension. We just did receive a as-built drawing for the sewer extension, which was about 11 feet. And the engineering firm and surveying company did a great job at preparation of that as-built drawing. We're waiting for an as-built drawing for the rest of the project, which doesn't have anything to do with this engineer or the design. But I'm told that engineering surveying firm may be called upon to prepare the as-built drawing for the lateral. And that will finish up that part of it. There is just a little bit more work to be done when they poured the bench walls in the manhole, the doghouse manhole over the existing main. The concrete went above the spring lines, so it's curved and doesn't give us full access to the full diameter of the pipe. They're going to have to trim off a little bit of the bench wall. It was poured in place concrete, and the contractor developer Jessica Lease continues to be completely cooperative, and he's got somebody on board. He's going to let us know when he's ready to do that, and that'll finish up the main part of the main extension.
Yeah, this was a good solution as well. I think it was Ed's idea initially. Was it Ed's idea or Darren's idea anyway? The 4 separate laterals keep maintenance clean.
I think we all, including the commission, went back and forth. Do we take an easement? Who owns the property? And we finally came down to checking with the manufacturer. There was no problem with the length of the laterals. Why not let each person be responsible for their own lateral? It avoids a ton of money for the homeowners to pay for inspection. I mean, the cost of inspection on 11 feet of sewer and an extra manhole in the doghouse was around $5,000. So you can only imagine.
I think both of these, A and B, are instructive in that it's easy sometimes to just, do things exactly the way you did them before and go through all the paperwork and, get all these legal opinions and protect everything, but I like the fact that this commission can take a practical approach to do an efficient thing from time to time.
My boss calls that thinking out of the box.
There you go. All right. 5C.
You want me to do that one, Ed?
I got the rest of these. Thank you, Darren. And don't give away all my secrets about thinking outside the box, Darren. For letter C, I had an opportunity to go to a conference up in Boston last week. It's called Nuia. It's the New England Water Environment Association. It's mostly wastewater applications, seminars, and stuff. So I got a couple of good ones. I'll hit on them quickly. One of the presentations was on the Trumbull force main repair. They've had the failure up there around the Beardsley Park area. Happens to be Arcadis working on that one also with the Trumbull folks to repair it, but they had some interesting insight on how to evaluate the thickness of this force main. Some soundings. They had wrapping that goes around. They expose the pipe. They wrap it. They put electric waves through it just to come up and see if the rest of the pipe was as deficient where it failed as they were hoping they would not find. So that was one of the better ones that I saw. It had something to do with an issue we have down here, of course. I've been trying to find a way to get a hard look at that Stony Brook force main. And I think this might be an opportunity, but there's other options out there too I want to continue to look at, and Arcadis is going to look at those things with us. But that was one of the things. One of the interesting questions I had for them was, your force main has deficiencies in certain areas, so they didn't dig too close to that. But what if you were digging and found that section you exposed had a thin wall or maybe a crack already? What would you do? Were you prepared? And they worried about that too. That was one of their concerns. They were ready to do a quick repair on it if it had to. So those are things you have to worry about when you start exposing the pipe to find out if there are deficiencies or any type of wear and tear on the pipe that you need to be concerned about. Another item was the Clean Water Act. They had a seminar on what's next. First 50 years, what's next after that? And I tell you, they were very optimistic in the upcoming new legislation that's going to be passed, how it's going to be funded more. I don't see that. I'm pessimistic, if you will, about that whole thing. But one of the speakers was Jeanette Brown from Stanford's WPCA. Had an opportunity to speak with her afterwards too. So that was an interesting insight, from the director of the Boston Water Authority to someone in outside consulting and teaching. They had a couple of people up there speaking from different approaches. And finally, one of the topics I sat in on was our favorite things, the wipes, and people having impacts on their pumps. And in the seminar, they cut it into 4 little pieces. The first half hour was a guy talking about these new impellers that we have right now in our pumps. We put them in years ago. They're working great. This guy I think he was more of a sales guy than he was talking about the premise of what to do with these wipes. The second one was more of an approach on using a weir system that actually separates it from the water and actually ejects it up out of the manhole that it's coming into. It was an interesting concept. It looked like it required more maintenance than changing the impellers. So that was one of the other items. So I really got a lot out of this. I think when I go to these, I went 2 years ago. I try to go every other year. It gave me a feeling that we're not doing bad down here in comparison to some of the other towns. And talking to some of the salespeople of some of the products that were out there, we're doing a whole lot more here in town than a lot of other places are. Some of the big cities, I don't think they'll ever catch up and provide a system that's watertight or reduce the I&I significantly enough to do. You don't see that from where they talk, but I think we're doing a great job in comparison. It was good to hear some of the the sad stories, and I could actually relate, but it was on a vast scale where we say, you know what, we're really not doing that bad. We're doing a good job trying to drill down to what we need to address here. So I got a good feeling when I left there. Do you have any questions?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you see some of these big cities, and I think they end up working on large storage so they could catch a lot of that rainwater and then deal with it over 3 days. But so the force main that comes out of the Stony Brook pump station, would that be a candidate for this kind of the radar penetration technology that
I didn't have a chance to ask him that, Craig. I think this pipe here is a ductile iron, the Stony Brook force main, if I recall. The other one was a stone lined, a concrete lined pipe. So I don't know if the two force mains are comparable.
We're always, we're operating under the assumption that it is most likely in good condition, but we don't have 100% confidence on that assumption. So it'd just be interesting to know if that sort of technology could be brought to bear if we needed it to.
I definitely want to look at that. And as I said, I think that's something that once we get our feet on the ground with the report and the Old Kings Highway South, that force main is going to be another topic that's on our list and part of their contract.
Okay. The additional funding that you heard conversations about, if you took an optimistic view, what does that really mean? Does that mean, like, right now we get, what is it, 45 cents on the dollar back for these studies? What does it mean for additional funding? Is it bonding? Is it low interest, no interest, or is it grants for physical improvements?
They still have and still are looking to present that low interest funding that they provided for construction. We get 55 cents on the dollar for these studies. So that's still a viable alternative and something they want to continue to press. But then again, it goes back to politics and who is in charge of the country at that time, whether these things before. But from what they're saying is it happens to be both sides of the aisle right now know that this is an item that needs to be addressed and currently at this time want to put money in and in the future want to keep funding this. The vast numbers on some of these projects, I mean, Stanford was 110 million. That was a drop in a bucket from some of the other cities I was hearing about.
So this is, well, I mean, there's ARPA funding, but then there's the $1 trillion infrastructure bill that gets metered out over 10 years, a portion of which I assume is for sewers, but probably a minor portion. And then there's continued funding, which may or may not ever occur. So you were getting like a kind of background political thing. You weren't getting this is how the state of Connecticut is thinking about funding programs in the next budget cycle, for instance.
Well, the folks that were speaking were from the New England area, so it's almost more of a global look at the funding that's possibly coming and will continue to come down.
Because low interest doesn't do anything for us because we have such good bond rating. Well, and then it comes with too many strings attached, right? We'll just bond our own money. We don't need your low interest money.
I like the fact that they give us money to do the study.
Yes, so we get 55 cents on the dollar there, but that's a program that has been occurring and we have successfully used and we anticipate successfully using in the future. But I am interested to know there is real money that has already come in to the state of Connecticut and is projected to come in with the actually passed infrastructure bill. I would, be curious to figure out, how that can be allocated to sewers, or if anybody's even looking at that, I don't even know who to ask. So.
I think that's a great idea. I also think that and you know this too, shovel-ready projects usually are the ones that seem to get that money right away. So I think we continue the path that we're going down, and with an eye
I
on.
mean, I think exactly. Nothing's going to change the way we're doing things, but it opens up the possibilities of financing, and we're coming up quick on that point in time.
Yep. So that was the conference.
And then the wipes, sorry, I have to more. The wipes, yeah, I mean, it sounds like we've done the right thing already. And it's a little bit kind of the way, unfortunately, we've been talking about flooding over the last year, which is, you can't make the flood go away, but you can make yourself adapt to the flood and be resilient so it doesn't cause damage, right? And that's kind of what we did with the wipes. You can't make the flood of wipes go away, but we've modified our systems to be able to manage them without the extreme maintenance that it was causing before.
Correct. That's correct.
If I can make a comment, I've been
Please.
waiting to be in town hall to drop off some Cottonelle wipes that someone gave me. Break up. They pull apart into little teeny pieces. So I'll draw. So I think, not that I think people should start throwing wipes into their toilets, but they, people on the other end are also listening. At least Cottonelle is listening.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's hopefully what the class action suits are going to get us is products that are a little more sewer friendly.
And a quick question, Ed, the pump impeller blade replacements, would that be like more like a garbage disposal, have like a macerating cutting blade as well to chop up the wipes if we were to retrofit everything?
We did.
Yes, and yes, we did. That's what we put in.
Oh, that's great.
Go ahead, Bob.
The inspecting of the force main that you were speaking of, the method they were using, they're able to do that without disturbing the asphalt?
No, Bob, the system that they used, they actually exposed the pipe and wrapped it with what you would see as looks like aluminum foil around it, and it's sensors on it, and they were sending electric waves through the pipe to see the thickness of it.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, that's where we run into a bit of an issue, don't we? Just since that's a state road.
Yeah, the issue I have is exposing the pipe, but yes, we'd still have to dig through the asphalt in the state road.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that too. You never know what the dirt is holding.
Yeah.
It sounds like there'll be
money.
technology will catch up with that within the next 5 years or so. There'll be some sort of a system where you won't have to disturb as much. If it's not available now, it will be.
If there's a demand, the technology will catch up.
Well, there are. I mean, the issue is there are pigs that can go inside the pipe and do it, but how you time that around the operation of the station is
Divert it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we also talked about just being able to time it in the middle of the night, back drain it, and at least inspect the last feet that you could, empty by back feeding it into the wet well. But that never went any further. But that was a thought.
all right, I'm good on 5C. Any other questions for Ed?
About we go to D.
Sure.
All right, the I-9 update. First, let's talk about the funding. Craig, you're aware, and now the rest of the commission will be. I did get the agreement from the DEP for our Clean Water Fund grant. I got it on the 12th of January after our meeting. So I asked Craig if it was okay to forward it to town council to start the review process rather than wait till this meeting and lose 3 weeks doing that. So that's in our trusty town attorney's hand right now being reviewed. She also gave me from the DEP a long laundry list of other things I'm putting together. I have most of them right now, except for one item. So once I get that and the agreement back from town council, I'll just need approval from you folks to send it forward, if there's any changes to it. If you have any questions on that, because it's been a long time that we've heard anything. We just, I had Vanessa from Arcadis reach out, and like the next day, the girl wrote back saying, I'm working on it right now. 2 days later, we had it. So I thought that was opportunistic, if anything. So hopefully within the next week or so, I know Wayne is away on a personal business right now, unfortunately. So when he comes back, hopefully we'll get that back from him.
So when are we ready to? Oh, that's the CTB DEP thing. Got it.
I'm sorry?
Continue. I got a little distracted.
Okay. The second piece to that update is we currently have a meeting with Arcadis on the 8th, which is next Tuesday. We're going to do a review of the SSES report before you folks see it. They wanted to show us some of the recommendations, go over some of the things they found before they finalize the report, or at least put it in final draft form for you folks to see. So we're going to have a meeting on the 8th. We are still looking forward to having something on the 15th, if that's still okay with the commission. A special meeting at 4:30. Arcadis will present the report to us formally.
Great.
I think it's going to be a formal draft presentation so that if we have any comments or want to make any adjustments before we submit it to the DEP or Save the Sound folks, we make those changes, and this is our opportunity to look at it. I'm going to try to get it to you before the meeting so that you have it, so you can look through it. That's my intention. And from what I understand, I think I should be able to do that. Any questions? Okay.
Looking forward to it.
So am I. So am I. Last item is the ARPA funding. Just to keep you updated, we had a meeting last week. Our project is, I still has it as the #1 priority as far as infrastructure goes. I have two great liaisons from the ARPA committee, if you will, and Martha Banks and Dan Baumgartner, both very supportive of this project and all the other infrastructure ones I put forth. So I will continue to push this one forward.
Okay. Do you know, have they talked about a time frame, or, I mean, are they going to wait until they've explored all ideas before authorizing some? Or are they going to do it in part when they feel like they've got enough good ideas to get some of the money out? Like, what's the conversation?
There hasn't been anything that jumped onto the table as with a sense of urgency, if you will. I mean, it's not like we want to start construction on the project right now on Old Kings Highway South. I think that's probably the only one I see is that large of a project with a sense of urgency, but it's still further down the line. So Craig, they haven't given me an indication if they're going to do it all at once or break it up. They are still gathering information from other departments, other community groups, if you will, and so on. So, but they're meeting every other week.
I feel like, we're getting the design done now, and we're not going to want to wait a hot minute before getting this out to bid and getting it done. And, I feel like we could be in a situation where we have to write a check and they haven't opined yet.
Well, I think it still has to go through the RTM process. And I think that's what they're working up to right now. We can't start that project out there on Old Kings Highway South until at least April anyway. Weather conditions allow for that. Right now, our design is barely getting worked on because they're working on the SSES report. But once they're done with that, they're going to move over to the design. So, the process is working forward. I'm concerned, but from what they found in the pipe, I'm not overly concerned right now. And knock on wood, each day we go by. But you're right. I prefer that they set the money aside for us and we know it's there, rather than kind of walking to the finish line together.
All right, but we have at least 2 months to encourage progress.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. And maybe more than that, but that's a safe schedule.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else in the superintendent's report? Any further questions for the superintendent?
Nope.
I think we covered 6.
Well, we did. I need a motion from you folks.
Motion to hold a special meeting on February 15th at 4:30 p.m. For a presentation from Arcadis on the results of their 1.5-year-long study of portions
I'll make a
of
motion to have a
Stony sewer shed.
special meeting on February 15th at 4:30 concerning the I&I study.
A second.
We have a first and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Everybody say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, that's everybody. I got lax on these easy votes. Does anybody have anything that wasn't on the agenda that they would like to discuss now?
I had a request on the fence over at Brookside, but I'm sure that's something that will happen when the weather's warmer and could be installed.
Status on that? Yes, weather.
It is weather dependent.
That's what I said. I figured as much. I wouldn't want to dig a hole right now.
Thank you for answering your own question. That's it.
Yep.
Any other new business? All right, 5:09 p.m. Not a record, but pretty good.
There being none, I'll make a motion for adjournment.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
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 All right, we are adjourned.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
See you on the 15th.
Thank you for your efforts, gentlemen.
All right,
Thank
stay
you
warm, everybody.
for coming along, Tony. It's good to see your face.
That's it. All right. Thank you, folks.
I'm going to stop
Okay.
recording.
Yeah.
That's all, folks.